Welcome to my podcast. I'm Reagan Bashara, founder of Ollie's Accounting, a bookkeeping and payroll services firm based in the United States. I have almost a decade of small business accounting expertise to share with my clients and the business community at large. I want to help you define your beliefs and values, create better procedures in line with those values, and realize your financial agency and independence as a small business owner. Whether you've got a side hustle or a fully fledged business with a team of employees, we all share the same struggles against our limiting beliefs. Let's overcome those together by imagining new ways of doing business. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the new year. I want to talk to you today about my plans for 2023, and you probably know that from the title of this episode. This will be the first episode of the year, but I'm recording it beforehand. So I've been reviewing my year 2022 a lot and thinking about where I started when I started my business this year and how far I've come and like the changes that I've made. I wanted to share with you the things that I'm committed to doing in 2023. I really think that the end of the year is a great time to kind of take stock of what you did, what things worked, what things didn't, what kind of mindset you want to have in the new year. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. So number one is that I'm not indulging in any more shame or judgment. So in the new year, in 2023, I've got plans for things that I want to do in my business. I've always had ideas about the things that I want to try, just for fun, really, and just to see like what I can do, what I can accomplish, the kind of work that I can put out there, how I can help other people. So I know that there's going to be things that I try and fail at, but I'm not going to indulge in regret for deciding to try those things or regret if they don't work out. I'm not going to make any of that, any sort of failure mean anything about me. And so I won't be indulging in like shaming myself, judging myself, and feeling regret about that. I started a new business this year. This is my first time ever owning a business. Although I've worked with small business owners for a long time, almost a decade, this is actually a new experience for me. I've never been the person in the shoes of the entrepreneur. So it's all a learning experience. And not only am I learning from other people and paying for things that are going to improve my business and to learn about how to run a business, I'm investing in my business growth. I'm learning. And even if I like pay money to invest in something that doesn't work out, that's okay too. This is all part of the process, right? Like not everything that you try is going to work out for whatever reason, but we're never going to tell ourselves that something went wrong. Even if it's an expensive lesson, it's still a lesson learned, right? So here's what I'm going to be believing about my business, about myself as a business owner in 2023. First thing is that failure is the path to success. Nobody gets what they want. Nobody achieves any goals that they want, or hits revenue numbers or product numbers. Nobody gets there being successful the entire way. Like that's just not really what happens. It's always like you try something, maybe it works, but you didn't exactly get the results you wanted. Maybe you try something and it's a huge flop. Like all of that is just part of the process, right? And if you try something new and you're immediately successful, that's great, but that's not typically how it works out. And I'm committed to doing all of this imperfectly. This is something that I've really, really worked on this year, is letting go of the need for things to be perfect. Some of you may identify as like a perfectionist. I feel like a lot of people identify as a perfectionist because we're all very busy shaming ourselves and judging ourselves for what we see as failures. And if you're a perfectionist and you're indulging in that shame and you're constantly telling yourself it's not good enough, I don't want to do it unless it's perfect, it's actually preventing you from taking action. It's stifling your ability to just do something and see what happens. Because if you decide ahead of time that you want things to be perfect, you're actually afraid of them not being perfect. And usually when human beings are afraid of something, we're not going to go do the thing, right? There are some people that like to indulge in taking risks. I, for one, enjoy riding roller coasters a lot, but that's because even though I was like scared or felt fear getting onto a roller coaster, it was still like exciting. It was still something that I wanted to experience. It's thrilling, but like I always knew that I was like pretty statistically safe and I could expect to walk off a roller coaster not being harmed. So although it's like risky and it makes me feel excited and fearful, I still did it. But if we're worried about things not being perfect and we're worried about failure ahead of time, usually that means that we're not going to do something. We're not going to take the action to do the thing that we're afraid of, especially if it has to do with money. If it has to do with our income, we're way less likely to go do the thing because we're like, if I fail at the thing and then I don't make any money, then I'm going to live under a bridge and lose everything, blah, blah, blah. We go immediately to the worst case scenario. So I've had to really retrain myself, and I call myself a recovering perfectionist for a reason, because I'm not even going to be perfect at being not a perfectionist. That's like kind of a paradox. So I call myself a recovering perfectionist because I do recognize that there are things that I am not doing because I'm worried about not doing them perfectly. And that's okay. Like I'm just kind of being aware of that, accepting like this is where I'm at right now and not making a big deal out of that. And if I commit to doing things imperfectly, I'm less likely to shy away from them, and I'm more likely to be more willing to do those things if I'm like, well, this is going to be imperfect, and so that's what we're aiming for. And then that's the whole point, is that I want to do the thing, it's going to be imperfect, and then I make it okay for the thing to be imperfect, which it is going to be. So that's what I'm working on believing. I'm doing things imperfectly, and that's something that I've really worked on this year in 2022, and I'm really proud of myself for how far I've come with that, but I still have a ways to go, and that's fine. And I'm also believing that what I have is enough right now. So I've started this practice that you can feel free to join in with me if you'd like to. Believing that I have enough right now, like just today. Like every day I've started a daily money review practice where I just open up my bank accounts. I look at all of them. I look at all the bills that have to be paid. And I'm like, okay, can I pay this bill? Yes. And I pay the bill. And believing that right now, what I have is enough to like pay my bills, right? Like that's a big thing for me, is just paying my bills on time, no matter what. And I have made it work. Like it's worked out this year. So I have this daily money review practice that I've started, and I'm going to continue that through 2023. But I'm not going to review my money and look at my bank accounts and then be like, oh my gosh, I don't have enough. I'm actually going to practice seeing like, here's the money in my account. This is enough for me to have today to pay the bills that need to be paid today, period. And so as I work on that belief and I'm kind of building up that muscle of like looking at any amount of money and being like, this is enough, that's what I'm practicing right now. And it's been a little uncomfortable, but I'm getting better. And so if you'd like to engage in a practice like that with me, please do so. And you can let me know how that's going for you. Another thing that I'm working on believing is that my clients can benefit from my successes as well as my failures. So this kind of goes back to failure being the path to success and doing things imperfectly. If I can fail, and then that's a thing that I know I can tell my clients, yeah, I don't think this is something that we should be doing as business owners or whatever, then that they can actually benefit from knowing that I've tried something and it didn't work out for me for whatever reasons. And so I have this idea of like being in the trenches with my clients and creating that connection of like, hey, we're all in this together and your success is equivalent to my success. If my clients aren't successful and they aren't making money and they're not achieving their goals and stuff, they might not actually be able to pay or afford an accountant. And so I don't want that for them. And it doesn't help me out any either. So I'm always looking for solutions to the things in my business that I struggle with. And if I'm practicing looking for solutions for myself, it's going to be easier for me to help my clients look for solutions to their problems too. So no matter what I decide to do in 2023, I'm going to stick to it without shame or judgment. I'm really proud of my progress for 2022. I've come so far from being afraid that it wasn't going to work out, that I wasn't going to have enough, that people were going to think crazy things about me or talk about me behind my back. Whatever. Honestly, who cares if any of that's going on? But I'm proud of myself for doing it anyways, for being scared and unsure and uncertain and just being like, that's okay. Like, I'm just going to do it anyways. And I'm proud of that. And I want to feel proud of myself because I've set a goal for myself, a revenue goal for 2023. And I want to feel proud of myself when I reach that goal. So I have to be proud of myself where I'm at now and kind of feel that along the way so that when I do meet my goal, I'll have already had that pride the entire time and been like, you know what? I have made huge progress. And that's amazing, and I'm proud. That's the first thing that I'm committed to doing next year. No more shame and judgment. The second thing that I'm committed to in 2023 is over delivery. So this means that I'm committed to finding ways to be a resource to the small business community. I want to help because I have all this expertise and experience and knowledge and understanding of how these systems work. I want to distill all of that and make it accessible. So what do I mean by accessible? Obviously, like my prices are going up. To have a professional, to have an accountant doing any sort of work in your business costs money, and that's okay. But there are people that maybe are just starting out and they truly don't have the capital or credit or means to afford an accountant. And so I still want to be able to reach those people because it's truly important for everybody to have a plan, to have routines, to have a system from the beginning. Because once you're in it, it is kind of a struggle to develop a system of like organization. And if you don't understand how owning a small business is going to affect your taxes, like you can kind of get behind the 8 ball, I think is the phrase. So I want to be able to make the work that I do accessible for people, and that means distilling my experience and my expertise and making it available to the community at large. Accounting is it's more than just data entry. I provide support to my clients. I provide encouragement to them. They ask me for advice. We brainstorm things about how they can make things more efficient, how they can be more organized, how they can make more money. So it's more than just like categorizing transactions, and I'm not a tax preparer, but it's more than just sticking a number into a category. It's all of these things: support, encouragement, brainstorming, etc. And I'm really the person that's in my client's corner. And that is a metaphor from boxing. So if you say you're in somebody's corner, you're like their coach. And when between the boxing rounds, you're there like wiping the sweat off their brow and like hyping them up and like talking to them and getting in their head and like making sure that they have the right mindset before they go into the next round. So whether my clients are fighting against some outside force, which could be, systematic, oppressive, etc., whether they're fighting against some sort of internal thing in their business, so that could be dealing with employees and learning how to manage other people, dealing with chaos and overwhelm and disorganization inside their business, or whether it's internal for them, mindset, self-talk, the things that I kind of talked about earlier about shame and judgment, because we all have that tendency to go inward and be like, I really should have known that was going to happen, or I should be better about organizing my receipts and blah, blah, blah. We all have that self-talk that comes up and we just have to be aware of it. And so when I'm talking with my clients, I do notice, hey, like it's really not going to be productive for you to sit here and beat yourself up about not knowing something or a decision that you made. And so the way I over deliver to my clients is that I don't accept people when they're indulging in that shaming, judging self-talk. So that's the second thing I'm committed to, is over delivering. And the third thing that is my commitment to myself in 2023, and this is allowing the drama to be there. So whether that is your mental drama or my mental drama, or it's interpersonal, it is what it is. And just allowing and accepting that sometimes I internally feel like a 3-year-old and I want to throw a tantrum when I'm coming up against a new thing that I haven't figured out, or something isn't quote unquote going my way. I have this image of like a 3-year-old child in my head that like isn't getting a piece of candy before they go to bed, and so they like throw themselves on the floor and they just want to scream and cry about it and make a big deal because it's so unjust that they didn't get the candy before bed. And it's like sometimes I just have to kind of let them tire themselves out. I don't have kids, but I'm the oldest child, and so I grew up like watching my younger siblings do all of this. I'm sure I did this too when I was that age, although I can't remember. But we all have that tendency to like feel like if we're not getting the outcome that we expected or that we think we're deserved, we have this tendency and this desire to like make a spectacle about how unjust it is. And so I call that like my internal mental drama. And so I've kind of had to learn that when that starts to come up for me, I just have to kind of allow it to go through the whole thing. Like if I act on it, that could produce results that I don't really like. And so I just kind of want to wait out that storm of emotion. And so the metaphor that I look to is like, nobody sets sail until the sea is calm. If a hurricane was coming through, they don't send ships out in the Gulf for a cruise, like a relaxing cruise. If there's, inclement weather on the way, or if we're in the middle of it right now, we're not going to put our ship out to sea. And so whenever I'm feeling that like storm of emotion and that 3-year-old inside me wanting to have a tantrum, just like, okay, we're just going to wait this out. It's just going to be a little wild for a minute, and then it'll end eventually. This isn't forever. And so I'm not going to white knuckle through that anymore. Anytime I have discomfort coming up, I'm going to deal with that discomfort in a new way by just letting what is easy be easy in the moment and not letting the hard stuff stop me from taking action. So I'm allowing all of my mental drama whenever it comes up and just wait until the sea calms down before we take another step forward and take some action. And of course, there's going to be interpersonal drama because I'm not running a business in a vacuum. There are other people that I'm dealing with. I have relationships with my clients, and sometimes there's going to be things that get miscommunicated, or there could be things that I'm still insecure about that I'm going to actually project onto other people and be like, oh, well, what if they don't, blah, blah, blah. And that's just like me being insecure, projecting that onto somebody else, even though they haven't actually said to me that they think whatever the thing is. So interpersonal drama can happen from me projecting actual miscommunications with somebody. And so what I'm going to focus on is like, I've got my own back, no matter what happens, no matter what other people say to me or about me, or I imagine them saying about me. Like, I'm going to be the person in my own corner, wiping my brow in between rounds, hyping myself up. Like, it's just, there's going to be discomfort. And whether that's discomfort that is internal for me because I'm insecure about something, or if there's some sort of miscommunication or an issue with a client or anybody else that I'm working with, like that stuff's going to happen. And so I'm just going to allow it to be there, allow the drama and do my best to communicate, do my best to like self-regulate my emotions, of course, because that's my job, is to regulate my emotions and just move through it. So those are the 3 things that I'm focusing on for 2023 based on what I've gone through in 2022 and how I've grown, how far I've come. So the first thing was that I'm not going to be indulging in shame or judgment about myself. I'm not going to indulge in regret. The second thing is that I want to be over-delivering to my clients, and not just my clients, but to the business community. If people need help with something, like, I'm going to be looking for a way that I can help them. So that's the second thing. And then the third is just allowing the drama. And whether that's internal mental drama that I have, when my brain wants to be a 3-year-old and throw a tantrum about not getting candy before bed, I'm going to allow that drama. I'm going to ride through that storm, wait it out. And then if there's any interpersonal drama, which is either what I'm imagining other people are thinking or projecting insecurities or miscommunicating with other people, like, I'm just going to allow it and not make a big deal about it and just do my best and have my own back in that moment. So if you're on board for all of that and you want to learn more about my process with all of this and watch that journey with me for 2023, I want you to come get on my email list. So if you sign up for my email list, you'll get access to my free resource, which is Chaos to Calm. It's a receipt organization guide. It's my system of organizing that mountain of paperwork that probably grew eyeballs and has been staring at you waiting to be dealt with. So if you've got a lot of receipts, if you got a lot of paperwork, and you try to shove it in a drawer, or maybe you leave it in a pile on your desk, kind of like I do sometimes, I have a system for dealing with it. And so I've distilled, and this is one of my things that I'm over-delivering on, I've distilled that system down for you into this organization guide. So it's called Chaos to Calm, and it's free, and it's available if you sign up on my email list. So you can visit my Instagram account, so that's All Ease Accounting, and click on the link in my bio, and you'll be able to download Chaos to Calm. I can't wait to hear how it works out for you. I hope you have a happy new year. Thanks for listening. Be well. If you are enjoying what you're learning on this podcast, please consider supporting me through a subscription on Anchor.fm. Any donation amount is welcome, or you can simply share it with someone you know. You can also follow me on Instagram at alleaseaccounting and sign up for my email list at alleaseaccounting.com/subscribe. Thanks for listening.